Hi, and welcome to PDQ Live. Today, we are going to talk about leveling up your IT career, either getting a better job if you want to, or maybe moving up in your current job, or even better, getting more money.
I love this topic.
Yeah,
I'm
I do too.
super interested in this topic.
We brought a specialist. This is Jordan Sinkfield.
Hello, hello.
He is a recruiter for nice.com. And we're going to give his contact information. Wait, are you sure that we can give you contact information?
Let the contact information rip.
Okay, but let's be clear. Jordan is very busy. He gets thousands of people contacting him. So, yes, we're going to provide it, but just be patient. If he doesn't get back to you, it's nothing personal. He's just very busy. Okay?
Fair.
Okay, so there's his LinkedIn, and he works for nice.com. There are other recruiters there too, though, right?
Yep. So I work for NICE. We are a customer experience platform, right? So we help companies interact with customers in any way possible, mostly digital, right? So AI integrated chatbots on your website, email service, customer experience for your website, really all that type of point of contact information is what we do for our customers.
Awesome.
Very cool.
And your role is out there finding other tech people to come make that happen.
Yep. I'm a technical recruiter there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've heard, and we did a webcast on state of sysadmin. So it was this, we asked a lot of people, what's going on with you, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that came up was, I don't make enough money. Pretty common, right? Or I'm burnout. And I remember vividly one of the comments was, I can't even get my resume past the algorithm.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to start there with you. Sure. How do you stand out in this world? How do you fix your resume? Why don't we start there?
Sure. How do you stand out and get past the algorithm? Really,
Yes.
there's in this type of economy, there's so many candidates per job, right? It's not like a few years ago where there was more jobs than applicants. Right now, some companies do have an algorithm, right? There is software that will pull in keywords and that will bring your resume to the forefront of the recruiter's eyes. Some companies don't have that. Like I have a remote DevOps job that has 1,900 total applicants. Like that, there's no way humanly possible. 1,900 candidates, and I have about 20 more open jobs. Not that many candidates, but how to stand out in front of 1,900? It's pretty hard.
Jeez.
So the one thing that I think you can do to beat past the algorithm is actually not care about the algorithm. It's what you can do off the job page. So find the company on LinkedIn, right? Go to LinkedIn, PDQ's LinkedIn, or go to NICE's LinkedIn. Go to the people, right? Go to the people. Type in HR, type in recruiter, and start connecting with those people. And then be like, hey, I applied to a DevOps job, or I applied to a specific job. Are you the recruiter for that job? If not, can you introduce me to that person? 95% of the time, they will be like, yeah, no problem. This is the person you need to connect to.
Should you do that before you apply?
No, I would apply first.
After. Okay.
I would apply first. Because I get a lot of people, and the reason why we said at the beginning that, I'm very busy is because I probably, if you were to pull up my LinkedIn, I probably have like 600-700 pending messages.
What?
Just because it's people being like, hey, do you have 30 minutes? I want 30 minutes. I saw a job on your website. Do you have 30 minutes to talk? And I'm like, I don't have 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I have meetings, other people I've scheduled.
And if you have 1,900 people in just
right?
one applicant, if I did 30 minutes for each, I'm not talking to anybody.
Like I'm not doing anything else a part of my other job. Yeah. So what I would do is I would apply, right? Because it shows you showed interest. And then I would find the recruiter. And then I would connect with the recruiter. Just send them a super simple message, right? Hey, just wanted to connect with you, let you know that I applied for X job. Also, here is my resume again, in case you need it. Looking forward to hearing from you if possible.
Something that fits in like that push notification. Like I don't have to put a ton of time or effort into other than name, interested in my mind.
Yep.
What about keywords for the job I'm applying for? Should I try to fit those into my resume?
Yes.
For each job?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, like keywords,
I like that.
Keywords is great. I do see resumes where, no joke, it is a page and a half full of just skill sets. And I'm like, there's no way with 4 years experience you have almost 2 pages worth of skill sets, right? Like you're not proficient in all of them. So in my opinion, when we've talked about this, when you put skill sets on there, list your main ones, right? When you see a job description, the job description doesn't have a page and a half of skill sets.
Yeah.
Right. It's usually like 10 bullet points of skill sets. So highlight those in your resume. When you're going through the job application process, look at the job description, be like, hey, does my resume reflect these qualifications? And if it doesn't, bring those to light on the resume, because as recruiters, right, I have 1,900 applicants on one job. So I don't have time to look through a lot of resumes of people that have applied. So really, I don't want to say I'm skimming, but I am. So I'm skimming and then I'm saving
it's
for later,
effective.
right? So I'm like, okay, this resume is, good. I'm going to review that deeper later. I'm creating a pile of a bunch of resumes that I want to take a deeper look at. And then what I do is I comb through those, take a few minutes combing through those, because the skimming is, I have these 5 or 6 main qualifications for this job. And I know you at least meet 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next.
So you've had this meeting with like an internal hiring manager, like, okay, what do you need for this role? And then you're looking to match that in resumes. Like, because you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste hiring manager's time.
yeah.
And so if someone's written this resume that has a page of 1,500 different skills, and one of them's like Citrix Zen Server from 2004, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, that's just wasting your time and everybody's time.
Yeah.
So it is important because, I think I'm just going to say people get tired. Like, you apply for so many jobs, but I think if I'm hearing you correctly, it is worthwhile to take a minute and look at the job description and go, as tired as I am, I do need to make sure I'm hitting these bullet points and make sure I have these descriptive words in my resume to get past this first step.
So like
right?
you're trying to make that Venn diagram of what I have, what they're looking for, a circle.
Make sure you're qualified too. I mean, it sounds dumb, but am I qualified for this job?
Yeah. A lot of people don't actually, how to say this politely, the one-click apply button, technology's made people lazy in the hiring process. It's made us very much, let's let the computer do it for us. Let's let everything do it for us. You go to, what is it? I don't use it. Indeed. One click apply. Apply.
Why don't you use Indeed?
Well, I don't.
Oh.
Just personally. It's a great, if you want, you can use Indeed. It is a resource. But what I mean is, not to bash Indeed, but there's like one click applies everywhere. They will take your resume and you just go apply. So they just see sysadmin job, right? DevOps job, whatever. And if they don't actually read the specifics, it's just apply. It can make it to where someone applies to a job. They've applied to 300 jobs in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way you know anything that you've applied for.
And then you maybe get this like email back from a recruiter. It's like, hey, do you want a like 15-minute chat? And then talk us through that, because I think there's people fall on their face here often.
Yeah, I didn't know this. So this is interesting. Yeah, so why is that a waste of time? Kind of sounds like
the
it.
one click apply?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to be honest, I think it's a waste of time, because I think you are spraying and praying. You have no idea how many times I've done an interview. I probably do 100 interviews a month, give or take, like however many I can fit into a day, I will. There's been times where I've had interviews from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every 30 minutes. I don't get a lunch. I don't get anything, because I have to complete these interviews.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the month, someone will pick up and they will be like, who is this for again? Who do you work for? And I instantly want to cancel the interview.
Yeah.
Like it is very hard for me not to be like, you know what? I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. I don't think this position's for you. So technology's made people so lazy that they don't put enough effort into their resume and where they're applying, that the spray and pray method is
Just makes you
eventually, right? There's an algorithm. I mean, there is a process of, if you apply to enough jobs, you will eventually land one.
So I should know your name and where you work before I interview with you.
And what the company does and what the role is that you applied for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I mean, we're laughing about it, but I've done that. I've gotten so fatigued with interviewing that I'm just like, ugh, I don't even care. So, I mean, it sounds stupid, but I think everyone's probably done that.
Yes.
So come prepared.
Yes.
Know who you're talking to, know where they work, know something.
No, like it's exhausting for everyone involved in this job search. Like the hiring manager, the hiring company, the person applying, like everyone is putting a ton of effort into this. And so you're going to get out what you put in.
Yeah. So have some notes prepared. And then, and I'm just going to say this, I think tech people tend to be nervous about interviewing. So what advice can you give us to, if I get an interview, I've made it past the algorithm, I've done what you said, what advice can you give us to do well in the interview? I'm laughing because I know this is kind of a hurdle for a lot of people.
So just how to do well in the interview process.
How can I come prepared?
Yeah.
And like,
Can
what
I
are some
practice?
what are some pitfalls?
Yeah,
that you
let's
see?
start there.
Sure. Pitfalls?
Yeah. Like, what are things that are common that you see that you're like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. I would say one of the ones that I see most recently from is they will take an interview from their cell phone and hold it. And they'll be walking around their house. They will be anywhere else but like prepared. And I shouldn't have to take Dramamine at the end of that interview because like I have motion sickness.
You get motion sickness by having an interview?
Yeah. No, I would say, look, it's fine that you take it from your cell phone, but prop it up somewhere, right? You got somewhere in your house or like somewhere you can prop it up where it looks like it's stable, right? I don't want I don't want to see this. This isn't MTV Cribs. You're
Yeah.
not giving me a tour of your house.
So it's okay if I'm on my lunch break. You just don't want it moving around.
Yeah.
Because I
and-
think that's probably pretty common for a lot of
Yes.
people.
Fair,
Yes.
right? Like, let's
Yeah.
say you do have to take an interview on your lunch break. That's common. Like, you're
Yeah.
gonna go out to your car, like, just open up with it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah, can I say that? Can
Yeah.
I say I'm on my lunch break? I'm currently employed. Is that okay?
1,000%.
So if I say Kelly doesn't know I'm doing this,
Hey.
It is one of those.
honesty's okay.
Yeah, you can either
Okay.
ping them beforehand, like I did take. I had a job where I was up in Park City, and I did take an interview because it was a small office. I lived down in Daybreak at the time, and there's no way that I could go anywhere in a small, tiny company and a small office and be like, I'm going to lunch, and everyone's like, usually I'm like the lunch guy, like, hey, let's all go to lunch, and if like I'm leaving, they're like, well, where are we going to lunch? And I can be like, no, just me, right?
Yeah.
So you can preface it beforehand if you know that like you are going to take it from the car. You can email them like when you get the confirmation, hey, just FYI, I'm on a lunch break. I'm going to take it from the car. Hope that's okay. Or yeah, just bring it up. We don't care where you take the interview. It's just how you present it.
Okay, so
Right.
should I wear my anime T-shirt? I mean, talk us through that.
Sure.
We do work in tech,
Yep.
so
Yep. I think just a little bit of professionalism, right? Like don't look like you just rolled out of bed. I interview so many people with bedhead. You wouldn't believe how many people I actually interview that look like they just woke up. Especially my morning interviews, like my 8:30s, my 9s, my 10s. They're yawning. They literally look like they haven't had coffee, and they're like 4 or 5 minutes late to the interview. And I'm like,
Ooh, no, that's
which this is. It's technology, right? Sometimes I've had Teams not open or my Wi-Fi crashes at work, and I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna be late to this interview, right? So like, I do give a buffer without judgment. It's 5 minutes. If
5-minute
you
buffer,
can't log
okay.
on and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, my
Send a
internet,
text message.
anything. You have
Yeah.
my email, for Pete's sake. Email me, hey, I'm struggling to log on to Teams. I am more than willing to give you enough time to get your effects in order, right?
Yep.
It's just be aware. I always say, like, would you go on a date without showering, making sure your outfit looked nice, and you present yourself in the best light. Don't just roll out of bed and be like, yeah, my hat and headphones will cover it all, right? Like,
Yeah.
put your best foot forward.
Well, and I think this goes back to know that company you apply for and try and get a sense for their culture.
Yes.
Like, don't
Yeah.
come into this thing just completely blind.
Yeah.
Like, because maybe it is okay if I show up in like a t-shirt and a hat and a
Yep.
beanie.
Yep.
Like, that company culture, it might fly. Others,
Yeah.
it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, so tell me this though: do you give leeway because you are interviewing technical people? Is there some leeway for? I'm trying to be nice about this for their tech people.
Yeah.
That's not their strength.
Sure.
Is interpersonal communication sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes that's not
Yeah.
their strength. So, do you allow for some leeway?
I do. So when I do interviews, I tend to give more psychology to my hiring manager. Say, look, when I interview somebody, I realize I'm interviewing tech people. There's a lot of introverted people in tech, right? They can't look at the camera.
Sure.
They struggle to pace back and forth. Like I can look past a lot of things, and I understand. And I tell the hiring manager, look, like, can he communicate enough and look me in the eyes enough that if there's a problem between hiring manager, right, there's an issue on the project, can this person actually communicate what the issue is? And I understand that there's a lot of introverts, right?
Yeah.
They don't really think about this. And I would say that probably only is like 10, 15% of like my whole evaluation. It really does the skill set that you bring to the table. I'm not expecting you to
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go get coffee after this, right? Like, we understand.
Realize in this interview, right, that you're being evaluated. Like, and you're being evaluated for these interpersonal skills and how do you handle maybe an awkward situation right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right. And so you are going to pass that on to the hiring manager. You might ask a technical question,
Yeah.
but I might tell me if I'm off base here, but you probably don't care about the answer to that technical question. You care about how they communicated it to you.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've argued about this a lot on the show. So we call these soft skills, right?
Yes.
And so, and I say this as an IT manager, I don't really care if you can talk to me. Can you fix the problem?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm opposite.
I know. And so we've talked about this a lot, Jordan. It does matter how you communicate, but
Yes.
I have, you may know this, I have advanced social skills. So if you're a sysadmin working for me, I don't care if you can talk to me. I can talk for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you fix the problem?
Yeah.
So for me, that's more important. But I understand from your point of view that it would be
Yeah. One
mandatory.
thing people need to understand is recruiters, we are not expected to know your entire job. You could give me
Right.
the world's best technical explanation, and it's most likely going to go over my head, and my fingers can't type fast enough your response.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, that's interesting.
the problem is, you know, you may think that I'm understanding you and I'm agreeing with you, but really I'm just writing down, because I do have a bank of questions usually from hiring managers of like, hey, ask these 5 or 6 probing questions. Here's the answers that I'm looking for. And if I generally, you know, I know the answers after a while. After you've interviewed at an organization so long, you've hired enough people.
Yep.
I can tell you what DevOps people do. I can tell you what all this is, but I don't do that 9 to 5, right? So
Yeah.
my job is a lot of soft skills, a lot of psychology,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm going to ask you 5 or 6 technical questions to make sure you actually understand what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
But really,
So soft
interviewing
skills.
with a recruiter
Yeah.
is really not as
Yeah,
technical.
because like this is
Yeah,
like
it's
just
not.
getting in. This is getting to the person that you actually need to prove that technical worth.
Yes.
So like from that recruiter screen, this is where you have to show that you're a human with a basic awareness of sound and light,
Yes.
and then you can talk to the hiring manager who really wants to dig into that technical skill set.
Okay, so just a second. I now need to hurt just Rob. Just give me my pen back so I can write that down. He just said I'm Jen from the IT crowd. Whoo, low blow. Ouch. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this really quick though. So soft skills key for you.
Yeah.
Jordan just said he's right about soft skills. And you know what? That could totally be true. It does seem like most people think that is the most important to make it through the interview.
You have to have both, I think.
I
Like
guess
from
so.
from hiring technical people, like you have to be able to communicate effectively and then back it up with technical skills.
Yeah.
Do you have to be a wonderful communicator? Do you have to get up in front of the company and give a presentation every 2 weeks? No.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna hot topic.
Yeah.
You ready for this? You ready and you ready?
I'm ready.
What if I can BS my way past Jordan with my technical answer because I can dazzle him with my soft skills, but then I get
Sure.
to you, I can't make
Yeah.
it past you.
Okay.
Okay,
That-
discussion point here.
That does happen a lot.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Because we aren't technical, right? There's, out of all the recruiters I know, the one guy that I work with that hired me at NICE, Tyler Ray. If you guys search Tyler Ray on LinkedIn, the people for who are listening to this, if you are more like AI focused, R&D focused, connect with Tyler on LinkedIn, because Tyler is one of the recruiters that has been working in this industry for so long that when I hear him talk business to hiring managers when we're in like a hallway, he actually understands like what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Not that most of us don't, but he goes to a whole deeper level where
Sure.
I'm like scratching my head going like, oh, I need to level up my skills of understanding.
Yeah,
It's
see-
very rare to find a recruiter that actually understands a majority of it to a level that he doesn't need the hiring manager to see if you're full of BS.
So I think it's you just need to know where your strengths are, right? Where
Yeah.
do you feel comfortable, and maybe practice your weakness
Yep.
before the interview. So if you feel nervous about your soft skills, find someone who's really good in that area and practice with them. If you feel kind of nervous about your technical abilities, if you're not a sysadmin yet, find someone and practice with that person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So interviews, we didn't talk about this, but I wrote this in my notes. I'm like, don't be such a nerd.
Be a nerd. Be authentic.
Or be an authentic nerd, but
Yes.
step it up, be more professional, right? And you
Yeah.
already talked about know your surroundings. Okay, you said research the company, and then we do have you gave us some great resources, ask questions about the company, look at Glassdoor. So that's something that I had not known. Can you expand on that a little bit? What
Sure.
is Glassdoor? What's
Glassdoor.
Glassdoor?
It's sponsored by Home Depot. Glassdoor is sponsored by Home Depot. Glassdoor is a company review page, right? A company puts a profile on there. Employees can go on there and leave a review of good and the bad, right? What's your ratings of the CEO? What were some pros? What were some cons? What was your salary? It can give you salary ranges of, it'll combine it if enough reviews are there. Generally someone with 4 to 5 years experience was getting paid X here. It's a company rating site, which is actually good because you can see what it's like, and it's the good and the bad, and it's not controlled by the company, so they can't go on there and be like, we don't like this review, delete. Right? So it's not 5 out of 5 stars. So you actually get raw and authentic feedback. Now, I always say be careful of Glassdoor, because what happens when you go to a restaurant, you have a terrible experience. Data shows that 9 out of 10 people are going to go ranting and raving somewhere, right? They're going to jump on Yelp. They're going to hate it, right?
Yep.
But if you have a fantastic experience, you don't really tell anybody. You might tell the person you went to dinner with, or a friend says, hey, we're looking for a new restaurant. You might, but you don't go out of your way to really say you had a great experience. So just be careful with Glassdoor and know that the people with bad experiences tend to be louder than the people with good experiences. So if you go to Glassdoor, also go to LinkedIn and connect with a few people that do what you do there and be like, hey, send them a message. I was on Glassdoor, very curious about applying to your organization. Could we connect? And like, maybe you could shoot me a few things about, what it is that you like there, because I want to know before I apply.
Yeah.
That is so true, because I've gone on to Glassdoor before and looked at reviews for a previous employer. And I had seen some that were so negative and so specific. I knew exactly who it was that had posted that. In my mind, I'm like, you were the most toxic individual there, and we were all happy when the door hit your butt on the way out. So you do have to use multiple touch points to get a real good understanding of a company, I think.
And I think Rachel just made an excellent point in the chat.
Is that the Rachel that's dead to me, or the Rachel that I still like?
I can't keep it straight anymore.
The one you love.
Okay.
And she says basically, look at what the company responds to these reviews, because that's telling.
Yes.
Well, I always like to say, I go into interviews, I'm interviewing the company as much as they're interviewing me.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that might be unique to some people. I want to know if I want to work there.
Yes. Yeah. I think that is actually an underlying skill in interviewing that most people don't do. They think that I need to impress the recruiter, but as a recruiter, I'm trying to impress you because I need you to fill a job. So it is my job. It's a 50-50 street. We should both want this process to move forward. And when I'm doing my interviews, I flat out say, hey, look, this isn't my place to do a technical interview. I just want to get to know you. I want to have a great back and forth conversation about the company, a little bit about the job. You can ask me whatever you want. And let's just have a good connection point here. And most of the time, the walls come down, they're relaxed, and you get that raw, authentic, like you said, you get that authenticity from somebody that you normally don't get if they're like on ice, that I'm like, okay, like, when the rocket's heading up into space and the fuel's low, like, they're like freaking out, like, I don't know the answer. And
I think you said that you like, people stand out if they're their true selves. Didn't you say someone had a picture with them and their cat, and you were like, I like this one?
I laughed so hard. This guy applied to a job and he had a photo of him and his cat up here. And of course I screenshot it and sent it to the entire group chat, right? It wasn't like, it was funny because I loved it.
Instantly, that person's name is now recognizable to everyone involved.
So stand out.
I did take, a look at his resume a little longer. Not saying that like something, off the books is going to get a recruiter to look at it longer, but it definitely.
But probably know the culture of the company you're applying to.
Not a law firm.
Yeah, like a law firm where it's like suit and tie every day. Probably that's going to get the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Let's get to what everyone cares about, really, though.
Ooh, money.
When you are going to get an offer extended, how do you get the most money? Let's talk about bargaining.
So now we've made it through this interview. We made it through the recruiter screen. That's going to be the hard part because I'm an introvert. Once I start talking shop, all right, I can sell myself a little better. Now I'm going to get an offer. Now what do I do?
Yep. That is awesome. I love talking money because money, in my opinion, is probably the most raw point of where I give feedback.
Okay.
And it's know your market value. A few years ago, there was not enough jobs and a lot of people, or there was a lot of jobs, not enough people. Is that what I said? Companies were overpaying by like 20, 25%. I got offers to go work remote from a company in California for $30,000, $40,000 more. And I was like, oh, you guys have only been around for like 2 years. Do I really want to make this jump? Like, what if I'm unemployed 9 months later and I'm back? I left a solid company just to make a little more change. So my biggest thing is know your market value. Salary.com, run a Google search. How much does X position in Utah make? Because every city's different, right? Seattle pays different than Utah. Utah pays different than Miami, right? Everything's different. So there is a flex in knowing where you're working for. Just because the company is located in California, they might not pay California wages because you don't live in California.
Yeah.
They will most likely pay Utah wages, which is fine because that's what you need to make to live there. So know your market value during the interview process. If you feel it is low, then go back to the organization when they get the offer and say, hey, I really appreciate the offer. I just wondered if I could counter based on these facts.
Ooh, you bring receipts.
That's
bring
the
receipts.
important part, right? Is why.
Okay.
Why are you worth more than what I'm offering you?
And I hate to say this because I'm on the other end of the table. Nothing drives me crazier than fighting for a candidate. Well, hey, X company's going to pay me this. Will you match that or beat that? And I'm like, no, I don't play this game. Like, sorry. If someone pays you more, then just take it. Don't do this back and forth because eventually you might lose both offers. That's what people don't realize is companies can take away an offer. If they feel that you're playing both sides of the coin, I might say, no, thanks, appreciate it. And then you go back to the other company and say, okay, well, I want this. We could both pull out at the same time. And guess what? You're back at the beginning.
Yeah.
So be careful.
And this can happen like internally, right? Like I've seen this happen like, I'm working at this current company. I have an offer for another job over here.
Yeah.
Give me a raise.
Yeah. They could fire you right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
Like there's a way to do this though.
Let's segue to, because I know this is a hot topic and I know how I feel about it, but job hopping. Say I know a lot of people leave and they have to though. Unfortunately, they have to because especially in IT, it's a good way to get more money and to level up your IT career. Unfortunately, it's just kind of a sad truth. But I know you have strong feelings about this, but let's say I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I love PDQ, but I want to become the IT director.
Yeah. You can have a job. Take
See
it.
you, Josh.
Have it. Good luck. I'm out.
How
Do I need to negotiate this?
No, I don't. Gosh, never. How do I do it? How do I get more money and or a promotion at my current job?
Yep. So job hopping is obviously a very touchy subject. He can share a post on the chat that I posted a LinkedIn post that got over 100,000 like impressions in less than 7 hours. Like I ruffled a lot of feathers on job hopping, which I was fine with. But it came from the place of, be careful what you do. Everything has a consequence. But anyways, to get an offer internally, I always say it's a right of first conversation. You hopefully would have a good enough relationship with your manager to walk in there and preface the conversation of, hey, look, I am very happy here, but like I said, bring receipts. Based on these 5 or 6 things that I'm seeing in the market, I would like, to discuss a possible salary increase. Don't just demand it, right? I would like the opportunity to prove why I feel I deserve more money. Right? Bring receipts. These are the 5 or 6 projects that I crushed. These are the 5 or 6 things that I'm going above and beyond and that aren't a part of my job description. And this is why. And give them time to respond, right? Don't just like hold their feet to the fire and be like, I need an answer tomorrow.
And you should probably be ready for them to say no.
Yes.
It is, having done this successfully in the past, though, it's very hard for them to say no if you bring receipts based on your job performance, benchmarks that you've met and or exceeded, and then statistics from local and or national trends based on salary requirements. It's very hard for them to ignore that.
It's really easy to tell someone no when they go, well, my friend got a job over here and they're getting paid more.
Yeah.
And?
Yeah.
Okay, and?
And especially if you're being reasonable. You're not saying, I want 30 grand more.
Yeah.
I mean, be reasonable.
The problem people don't see is they see what they can get offered to go elsewhere, which is fine because that's what it is to retain talent is to go somewhere else. You pay a little more. People don't realize that the reason companies don't do large increases for every single employee is because you lose focus on what the benchmark is for that specific position because there's a low, middle, and high for what this position would pay for in the market.
Yes.
Finance hates you because they don't know their runway, right? Every company's got a runway of money that they have.
Yeah.
If your company's not successful and the company's constantly giving $30,000 raises here, $20,000 raises there, that you might as well just throw the benchmark out the window and your company's going to become the Wild West of now you hold their feet to the fire. But if the company's got no money coming in, guess what? You're not going to have a job.
Yeah.
So you need to be respectful of the organization's money, but they also need to respect yours, right? So it is a two-way street. So that's where I said, come to them with facts and not feelings.
And I'm assuming you want to have good reviews under your belts for the past,
yes.
2 years, 3 years? Or
I
what
would
are we looking at?
minimum 2 years.
So those self-reviews that everybody hates to write, put some effort into those, right?
Yeah. So nice at the beginning of every year, we have a pretty big performance review. And so I filled mine out and they want you to brag. And I bragged, right? I have receipts of why I'm asking for X or Y, my end goal in my performance review. And I kept receipts that they can't ignore.
Yeah.
Right. But you also need to be prepared that, companies have budgets, that's just not an unlimited disposal amount of money. We're not the U.S. Mint. And we have 10,000 employees, right? So they can't just give max amount to everybody.
Sure.
So bring your receipts, asking the company for more money. But like you said, be prepared for them to say no.
Yeah.
But don't be offended. If they say no, then you need to take a look at your career and internally think, what did I not do to get this raise? Because if you bring enough receipts that are hard to ignore, it should be pretty easy for them to say
This
yes.
is also a great time to get feedback from your manager. Okay,
Yes.
the answer was no. Okay, get it, understand that. What do I need to do?
Yeah.
Like, what is my level up plan? Because this is where I want to go. And you can get that very direct, honest conversation to happen.
Yep.
Should we take
sorry.
some questions, Jordan? Do you want to
Yeah.
answer
Yeah.
some questions?
Yeah, let her
Let's
rip.
do it.
All right, let's dive in. What's the best strategy when you find out your company is hiring new people for your position at a higher rate than what you're getting paid to do the same job, but with experience? Sincerely, Mike B.
Oof, Mike, that is a pickle.
That's rough.
What? How to answer that? I've never really been asked that question. What I would say is, like we just talked about, go have a conversation with your manager and see. Maybe the job description is completely different. A lot of people just throw out a blank or a generic job description, but really, what if this person is doing 5 or 6 things different than you're not doing, which requires a higher salary? What I would say is go to your hiring manager and just ask. Ask from the perspective of understanding, right? Because then that doesn't seem like you're the child that's holding your breath and stomping your feet like, why am I not getting paid more? Give this person my salary, right?
Sure.
Unfortunately, that's the way it is. We lose people to more money, so you have to hire more. And yeah, some people do not like the fact that they're going to be making $25,000 less than the person that's coming in. And once again, like you said, that's why people leave, is because they can get that increase. And so it's a vicious cycle. There's really no right answer. What I would tell you is go to your hiring manager and ask. Just ask.
I think just Rob actually said apply to the job, but I think this is actually more of an IT manager question. And here's what I would say: it's okay to have conflict.
Yeah.
It's actually fine. In learning to handle those situations where these kinds of conflicts arise is a skill that everybody should learn. I would say definitely sit down with your manager and say in a very professional way, what the crap? And have that conversation. Say, why are you doing this and why is this not my salary? And list out your reasons and come with a strategy and write down every single question. Don't just come in heated. Wait till you're not angry and sit down and have that conversation and be ready to talk it out. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to speed round these because we have a few that have stacked up. This one is a question we've kind of touched on already, but how do you even get a person to see your resume since everything is computer driven these days and resumes seem to just go into a black hole?
That's a fantastic question, Mike. I think it goes back to what I said earlier. Apply to the job and then try to do a little bit of digging. If you really are wanting to work for this organization, find the recruiter on LinkedIn. Just ask around. I get pinged all the time. Hey, I'm a technical recruiter, or I'm a technical account manager. I'm in sales. Are you the person that hires these? And I'm like, no, I'm not. You want to reach out to Dave Butler, right? And then I tag Dave in the chat, and then I send it off, and then he goes and contacts Dave. So do a little bit of digging. This all kind of reverts back to technology's made people lazy.
Yeah.
They just apply and just be like, okay, well, if they see it, they see it.
Well, and you also said make sure in the job description you have those keywords in your resume. So change it for each job you apply for. So you get past that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We have one from Rachel B. Does resume format matter in terms of the algorithm, e.g. Word doc versus a PDF?
No, it really doesn't.
I have a strong opinion. Always do a PDF. Don't submit a Word doc. Oh, that hurts my head.
Do you know what I do when I get a Word doc?
What?
Is I go back and look at the change revision history
Yes. Oh, yes.
instantly.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but we have some. Gosh, words are so hard today. Some bonus content. There are some good resume sites that have many templates. So I don't want to forget to mention that there's so many templates out there. The ones that I loved the most, Zeddy Resume Builder was the one I loved the most. Pretty cheap, it's like $2 for a 2-week free one.
Yeah.
Had some gorgeous templates. And Andrew loved Let's Eat Grandma, just the name alone. I love that one. Okay, sorry, go ahead. We'll put that up.
All right. Next question. If the skill set vomit for the algorithm is at the end of the resume, will that still pass the filters, yet still look okay to the human at the end?
Yes.
Just Rob.
It's going to pass, right? It reads the entire document. When we get it, really, recruiters, we don't care how much is on there. I know that sounds very contradictory to what I just said, but if there is a whole list of skill sets, I'm looking for the 4 or 5 that qualify for this job. And then I'm pushing it to the side, and then I'm looking at how long have you been in an organization? Where have you worked? Do you have the degree that's required? So really, the people focus on putting too much into trying to catch the algorithm that they miss making sure the rest of your resume looks professional and up to date and has relevant information for the jobs
Yeah.
that you're applying for. They're so worried about getting past the gatekeeper
Yeah.
that they're they're focused too much on that.
So quick question, what's the page count maximum?
It depends.
It's a Josh answer.
It depends. I would say 3.
3?
That's me.
Oh, I'd never go 3. Okay.
Well, it depends, right? Like
That's a lot.
I probably have 2. I could consolidate to 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with at the bottom of your resume putting prior experience available upon request.
Okay.
Right? Don't
Okay.
don't have 5 or 6, but I'm interviewing some high level people.
Mm-hmm.
They can't fit it all into 3.
Do you care what I did 20 years ago?
No.
Okay, just checking. Just making sure.
If you did something at like Microsoft 20 years ago, it's not relevant today because technology changes so quick that it's super outdated information anyways.
Okay, so stop at 20 years. Okay.
Okay. Next question. Why don't job postings include salary, and what's the best way to find that out without wasting
Oh, yeah,
time?
why
Yes.
don't they?
So some states actually require you to post a job salary. Like I know Colorado's one of them. Utah is not. It's one of this is
lame.
this is a fun topic for me as well because there's a specific budget we're trying to meet, and if I post that, let me give you a scenario.
Okay.
The range for my job is $70,000 to $120,000. Right, that is the low of the band. The high band is 120.
That's a range.
That's typically what it's like. There's usually about a $50,000-$60,000 range of the lowest you would pay for this position to the highest you'd pay. But hypothetically, Tara, let's just say my budget's 110, and I don't think the manager doesn't think your skills don't require 110. You are actually in the lower end, but we want to help you train, learn. If I show the range of 70 to 120,
Everyone wants 120.
Thank you.
Immediately. I
you're
want
gonna
120.
You're going to be upset,
Yeah.
offended. You're never going to want to apply to our job again because everyone wants the most amount of money. But once again, they don't know their market value.
Gotcha.
So when I see those, I don't post them because you might not be worth 110. I'm sorry. It's just the cold, hard truth. I know my skill set, and I've taken a look in the mirror and said, okay, if I want to take the next $20,000 bump in recruiting, this is what I need to learn to get that. And once I have that, then I demand it.
That makes
but if you
sense,
put
though.
the range,
Yeah.
people get offended.
Why don't you just put the mid-range then?
So I put a budget on there.
Oh,
so,
you
so-
do?
So,
Oh,
some of
okay.
the jobs I
Okay.
do, but if I put the range, I think the question said the range, but like,
That makes
You know.
perfect sense because that's the first thing I did. I'm like, I want 110
but then
immediately.
that's the problem as well is what if you were making 75 at your last job? And 110 is a huge bump, but you're not worth 110.
Well, so conversely, I'm going to tell you this. I don't want to put what I make in my other job because if I'm job searching, I want
Yes.
more money.
Yes. Legally, we won't ask. We will. I will not ask a candidate, what are you making right now? The question I phrase it as, what do you need to make?
Yes, that's a
What
better
is the desired
question.
salary you want?
Okay.
All right. Next question. Why are companies posting jobs labeled as remote, but the details show either on-site or hybrid? What do you suggest to find true work from home jobs?
Oof, that is actually very good. I haven't seen that because I know like when you go to LinkedIn to post a job, it specifically asks you 3 options, right?
I've seen
Office,
that,
hybrid,
yeah.
remote. That's it. There's no in between. Now, the question might consider, because I do see some people in the job description heading where they will say,
Remote.
yeah, remote,
Yeah.
right? And it says office. That could just be a clerical error. I would just, when you apply and you get the email back from a recruiter, if you have something set up, there's no skin off your back. I have people ask like, hey, just asking, your Atlanta office is here. Am I required to go in? What is hybrid? Is it 2 days a week? Is it 3 days a week? I don't want to waste your time. So you can totally clarify.
Yeah, that's the thing. Don't waste the recruiter's time. Don't waste
Yes.
your time. Nobody wants
Oh
to
my
waste time
gosh.
here. It's not like
So-
rude.
Yeah.
It's not a negative on you if you say,
No.
I only want to do remote.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Cool.
Heavens no.
Okay.
All right, 3 more. We're going to bust through these. What is your advice for virtual interviews?
Oh, I love this one. Be aware of your surroundings. Like I said, don't take the interview from your phone and walk around. I don't want to be taking Dramamine. Log in 5 minutes prior because on Teams that we use, I get a notification that you started the meeting. That's a huge plus for me. It shows you're ready, you're on time. You would show up to, I mean, we all did on-site jobs or on-site interviews before, virtual interviews was a thing. You were there 10 minutes prior, right? You were in the parking lot 15 minutes prior, chilling,
Yep.
knowing where it's at. You walk in and you're ready.
But I also wasn't there 35 minutes early because then it's just like this burden on the company. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what do I do with this
Yeah,
person?
they're early.
Yeah.
So log in virtually for 5 minutes. We get a notification that you're there. That's a perfect time to test your video and test your mic.
Yeah.
Make sure it works, because when I log in, I want to continue that conversation.
Beauty. 2 more. Let's do this. When to discuss compensation? How does it differ between an unemployed candidate versus one with a current job?
For me, it's not going to matter. We just pay based on skill set. If I know you can do the job, I'm not the type of recruiter, and NICE is not the type of company to be like, okay, you're unemployed, budget's 120, maybe we can get them for 110, right? That's not cool. We don't play that game. If we feel you're worth the job, we're going to pay you what it is, right? We're not going to play that game. And so I don't think there is an employed versus unemployed. I think it's just, coming to the table prepared with what it is that, the question, I apologize, was discussing salary, when to discuss it. Mm-hmm. I think at the very beginning with the recruiter, because you don't want to go through the entire interview process. What if it is 4 or 5 rounds and then you didn't ask? I have people on my questionnaire on NICE's website. It's, what is your desired base salary? People put TBD or, love to discuss. And I bring it up and they're like, well, I'd like to speak with the hiring manager first, which is fine. But if you decide to go down that route and not know, then it's almost your fault if we're paying too low.
Yeah, you invested
Yeah.
now 8 hours in this interview
Yes.
process, and the reality and expectation are so far apart.
Yep.
I think what I'm hearing from you is don't waste anyone's time.
Yes.
Be real. Be honest right from the get-go.
Yep. And,
Okay.
and that's where I feel
Okay.
you should know your market value, because you stated it up front, and this is what I take. But if you're a little bit flexible and you know that like 140, you'd be willing to take like 125, 130 to really get the job, be like, look, I want 140, but I am flexible. I really would love to work here.
Okay, that's a perfect answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Final question of the day. If I have 30 plus years of experience and no college degree, how much does that hurt me?
None.
Yeah.
Not in my
30
opinion,
years.
one bit. My goodness, you should be running the department. It's one of those where a college degree at a certain point helps get you past, but there is a level in your resume where the skill set surpasses the degree. Now, unless, technology is one of those where we will look, you're not an engineer building buildings. You're not building a bridge, right? That is a degree related, needs to have field.
There's
they don't care.
licensure involved.
Yes, they don't, and there's insurance, right? They don't like, in technology, there is a realm of experience where it surpasses a bachelor's or a master's. I don't think it hurts you one bit when you have the years of experience.
Okay. Well, I love this webcast. I love it so much. Hopefully it was very helpful. So check out the content we're going to share out. Everybody chat with Jordan immediately.
I want to get home and see 9,000 notifications.
Nice.com is where he works. And thank you so much for joining us, Jordan.
You're welcome. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah.
For PDQ, I am Tara.
I'm Josh.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, WTIT, winner of PDQ swag. Please send us your mailing info at webcast@pdq.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and leave us your comments. We love those as well. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you back here next time.